Welcome to the Get It Done podcast. I'm your host, Jimi Ryan. Today we have a very special edition of the show. We have two LOAs on Team Get It Done, Lauren Weise and Sophia. Guys, welcome to the Get It Done podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I know, I'm really pumped about this. Before we hit record, we're kind of laughing about like, oh my God, it's 70 episodes. We're finally getting you guys on. And theme that we've been having the past couple episodes were employees that we work with and coaches that we work with. And now the two head ladies of the team want to just start out by introducing both of you. So, we've had a Chairman's Club member at Fairway and a Double Comma Club person at Fairway. And of course, you guys are Chairman's Club members and Double Comma Club members too, of course. And kind of just getting there, but here we're on our way. But Lauren, you're a loan officer assistant on Team Get It Done. Welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I joined Team Get It Done back in July of last year. So Sophia and I joined the same time. It marked our first year anniversary with the team. Roughly, I think it was like a week ago was our year. So it's super exciting. We've grown a lot and come a long way as a team.
My goodness, I know we have. We were just talking about all of our gains. And before we go over that, what's that in the background?
So I just actually bought a condo in Third Ward. Obviously, you guys know that. But I'm on the river here, and we have a ton of bridges, and all the boats going under that are too tall for the bridge, they set off their horns and don't hold back. So you'll hear more of that.
The Milwaukee River in Third Ward of Milwaukee.
Right.
Very cool. We're all pumped for you buying your first house. And on to
Thank
Sophia.
you.
Sophia is the mother of two, and we were just talking about this, like we're parents. Like that's not like the coolest, most epic thing in the world. But tell me about your girls.
So I have two daughters, age 16 and 14. They're great. They are going to school. Obviously, it's summer break now, but they're working part-time. And my oldest is currently working on getting her driver's license so she could take herself to work and school.
Oh my God, that's gonna be awesome. And then drive the sister around.
Yeah, and I don't have to worry about taking them anywhere anymore, which is nice.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I want to just kind of go over your guys' story leading up to when you came onto the team. And the best place to start with that is where you were born. So we'll keep on going with Sophia. Sophia, where were you born? Where did you start your life? What were your parents like?
Yeah, so I was born in Douglasville, Georgia, and my parents relocated to Madison, Wisconsin when I was roughly 6 months old. And I've been in Madison for the last 37 years of my life. Yeah.
Wow.
My parents.
I've known you forever, yeah. And it feels like forever, and it's just like, wow, I never knew that. Okay, continue.
Yeah. Well, my parents are, I'm Hmong. My parents are from Laos, and I don't know, they came here with nothing but the clothes on their back, and I'm actually really proud of how far they have came, getting themselves through school, getting a good, decent job, purchasing their own home, raising their kids without government assistance. Yeah.
Wow, that's really incredible. And I'm sure they have an amazing story just to get here. Were they already pretty settled in when they had you, or were you?
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
They were.
So you just get the stories about it. Any crazy stories about them coming over here? What was the most difficult adversity that they had to overcome to really provide the life that you live?
That's a good question. I should be asking them those questions. It's something that I will have to talk to them about, but I haven't really talked to them much about what they have to overcome.
I mean, that's pretty epic, though. I mean, just the facts of the story are pretty crazy.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. And then we'll bounce back and forth. We'll go to Lauren. So, Lauren, where were you born? Where did you start your life? What were your parents like? How'd you begin?
Well, mine's not as interesting as Sophia's, but I was born in Milwaukee, grew up in Mequon, and then we moved to Cedarburg, finished up school there, and then went to college out in Minnesota. I graduated last year. I have two little sisters. One of them's at Marquette, and the other one goes to school in California. And parents both live in Mequon.
Why did you go to Minnesota? I mean, you're from Mequon. Isn't that kind of like, I don't know, did you get a lot of people that like mixed emotions about going to Minnesota, or was it just like, no, 100% I'm going there?
I don't know. I went to Cedarburg High School, and I would say it was like majority of the people that went between Minnesota and Madison definitely went to Madison, but I went to lacrosse my freshman year because I wanted to play tennis, and definitely wasn't good enough to play at a D1 school. So I went there and I really enjoyed it. I loved being an athlete there. And then I was like, no, I want a bigger school. My boyfriend was already up in Minnesota at the time, so I just transferred over there.
I mean, that makes sense. And you've been dating Sam forever, right?
Yeah, like 7 years now.
I mean, when's he gonna, pop the question? I mean, we gotta ask.
Whoa, no, we're good right now. We're good where we are.
Hey, Jeremy, don't even go there. Okay, all right, well, that's fine. I mean, here, you just bought a house together. I've been very happily married to Jasmine, as you know, and we bought a house together before we were even engaged. So here, I mean, early congratulations. So that's great. We'll move on to first car. What was your first car? I want to go back and forth between both of you on that. You didn't even know. You didn't even know.
I know. I don't know what my first car. It was. I don't know the name of it. It was like a Lexus RX 350 or something like that. It was like older, maybe like 2009 or something, and I totaled it.
Wow. And that was your first.
It was short-lived.
How'd you total?
Yeah,
it?
I slid off the road in the winter, like a few months after, or like 6 months after I got my license. I slid off the road and hit a telephone pole, but it was fine. I'm okay. Nothing happened. It was just the car. Just.
Wow, that's really incredible. And that's your first car.
Yeah.
That's a really freaking nice first car.
It was like my mom's old car. She got a new one when I got my license.
And then here you go. Makes a ton of sense.
There we go.
How about you, Sophia?
Well, I got my license when I was 19, actually. My parents refused to help me. I saved up $1,000 and purchased a beater. It was a 1991 black Honda Accord that lasted like maybe 6 months or so. Yeah, not a really good investment, but that was my very first car.
You'd think that the Honda Accord, that's a pretty reliable car. What did you just?
It was $1,000, Jim. It's not that reliable.
Look, my first car was a 1978 Ford Mustang. It was a 4-speed, and it had a 4-cylinder engine. The coolest thing about it was a Mustang. Literally, like, it had the Mustang symbol in the front. If you took that off of it and looked at it, it was so ugly. It was the ugliest thing in the world. And it only started half the time. And the flywheel, half of it, the teeth were out. So what I'd have to do is that when I would start it, I'd have to push it with it in gear. So it would spin the flywheel just a bit, so it gets it into the part where the teeth connect to the starter, so that I could start it. It got enough thing going, and I could start it. My goodness, I think I spent $600 on it, and my goodness, that thing was a piece of junk. But anyway, I want to transition. So for Sophia, for you, Lauren kind of brought us all the way to college. What was high school like for you? What in Madison, and how did you move forward in your life?
I went to La Follette High School, which is on the east side of Madison. I graduated in 2002. I did go to college. originally I went in with the intention of getting an accounting degree. But when I went to college, I already had 2 young kids and was working one full-time job and 1 part-time job. It was overwhelming. So after a year and a half, I decided to drop out. And honestly, I don't regret it. I don't regret it. It was a good learning experience though.
I mean, having 2 kids, like, I don't know how you do it. I mean, it's just like, it's like impossible. I mean, it just is.
It was tough for
Yeah.
sure.
For sure. I mean, and just to be able to concentrate with 2 children around is enough. Then to pay for it and to actually really truly learn it all. But you don't regret it. What did you end up doing?
I ended up working for a fitness manufacturing company. Started off doing technical support, a technical support role. And then I got promoted to a training and quality assurance specialist role. And I did that for some years before transitioning into the real estate industry and doing this now.
Wow. So, okay. And I vaguely recall, didn't you like run a call center of some sort? Like, or like
that was my previous, yep.
So that's the quality control thing. So so tell us a little bit about this. Like, I mean, you kind of flew by. I mean, that was a large, for years you did that. What was it like? Like, what did you do in a call center? What was a typical day like for you?
I worked with service providers and clubs on getting their fitness equipments up and running under their warranty. Yeah.
So basically, people's workout equipment would break. They'd be pissed off. They'd call this number.
And I get those calls.
And you want it. They want you demand you fix it.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing somebody did?
Crazy? I don't know.
I mean, I gotta imagine what's the typical thing? I mean, I have to imagine that you just get cussed out on the phone all day long at this job.
Sure. But because I'm working with specific clubs and, service providers, you get to know them and build a relationship, which is nice. So,
okay. So it's not
that bad.
Okay. So it's not like a cable company customer service type of thing. You're identifying what their problem is and you're just helping them fix it and holding them through the process. Well, that's cool. I painted a picture of it being like literally like the worst experience of your whole entire life, but that doesn't seem like it's all that bad. And it's a great segue into what you're doing now, which will lead us to what you do. So what do you do on the team? And I mean, here, this is what led you to it. I guess what made you make the initial jump? And then what do you do on Team Get It Done?
Well, the mortgage industry has always been intriguing. And by chance, I met Jenny through LinkedIn, who linked me with Brian that got me here and introduced me to you. So what I do, I work, how do I phrase this? I guess I take it from contract to closing, right? So just making sure that the file, goes through smoothly. And I guess the main point here is just to make it as easy and smooth for the client or all parties involved.
I love it. I love putting you on the spot, Sophia. Hey, what do you do? Hey, what do you do? Give me your job description. Just read it for me right now. You know what I mean? Like, well, and look, yeah, you manage the process from contract to close. You do a fantastic job about that. And look, there's a lot of deals that go back and forth, and there's a lot of coordination that needs to be done between title companies, insurance companies, buyer's agents, listing agents, clients. Appointments need to be set, disclosures need to be signed, appraisals need to be ordered, and it all needs to be done in a timely manner and organized and followed up on. Sometimes people don't do their part, and you have to follow up. And that's what Sophia does. And that's honestly, like, I know I just said it in like, I don't know, like a breath of 20 seconds, but like, it takes all day. I mean,
It really does.
You know, it could be the end of the day and there's still, you know, so much to do. And which is why which is why we have the team, which is a great way to get Lauren in on this now. What led up to you joining the team, and then what do you do on Team Get It Done?
So originally I had gone to college to eventually go to physician assistant school, and I had taken all the classes. I was ready to go, ready to apply, and something was holding me back, and I wasn't like fully committed with it. And at the time, a realtor friend of mine had reached out and said, "Oh, I know this guy, Brian Clute, and he's looking for someone to begin at their branch." And Brian, like Sophia, had introduced me to Jim, and that's how we got started. But for my roles here, I do all like the front work. So I take the lead, contact the lead in the application, assess the files, pre-approve them, or let them know what adjustments they can make to qualify in the future if they don't at this time. And then once they get that accepted offer, that's where Sophia's taking over.
I love it. And again, we're summarizing something that takes you all day, you know, in like a breath. But you're managing our leads that are coming through from, you know, several relationships that we have with, you know, business partners, mainly real estate agents that are sending us, you know, names and numbers of people, and you're replying right away, and you know, being an excellent, you know, I guess customer service piece. Like we're reaching out to people right away, and you head that up. You make us look good in that case, because, you know, if we're responding right away and that's your role, you know, it makes Sophia and I look good. And gosh, I think managing the text group is just one of the biggest tasks that you do. But then, you know, reaching out to clients, requesting other documents, re-requesting documents, and scheduling, you know, consultations. I mean, again, it takes all day, and then we don't get it, and then sometimes we have more to do. If someone was to ask you, "Hey, you know, I think about buying a house, you know, why should I use Team Get It Done?" What would you say?
Like we've talked about before, I think something that diversifies us from other lending teams is that we provide all options to our clients. I think a lot of lenders will just, you know, send you off on your way if you get pre-approved with whatever program they think is best for you. But at least with our team, we're presenting the options. We're showing the differences in monthly payments, cash to close, down payment, everything, interest rates with our mortgage consultations. And I think that's something that's unique, and that, you know, that keeps clients with us.
I love it. Sophia.
One thing I do want to add is the fact that we go above and beyond, even during business hours. If our realtors need a pre-approval, we'll get on it, and we'll get them whatever they need in a timely manner. They don't have to sit around and wait for it, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think that our speed to response is like, I think, who was telling us the other day, like, we were like worried that she was making fun of us, but it was actually, no, you guys are like the easiest people to work with. And it was just such a compliment, because, you know, of course that's what we're after, and that's what we try to do. And, you know, we're setting our sights on this, but then to hear it, that we actually are getting it, is ultimately really fulfilling. And just to add to that a little bit more, it's not just about giving people the options. It's about also, you know, being a therapist to our clients. A lot of times people are struggling emotionally, or it's just really overwhelming, and they need somebody to, you know, give them that little pep talk. And you got, you know, we talk about this a lot, and they need a dad talk, you know, and I'll be in there stepping in a lot of times as a therapist. And guys, that's it. Is there any? I want to get some just final thoughts, and then we'll wrap this up. We'll start with Lauren. Lauren, final thoughts on the team, on the podcast. Anything you want to share? with the world.
No, I also wanted to add, I think something that makes you unique, specifically Jim as the loan officer, is the podcast. And we forgot to ask you, what do you do for our team? What are your, your values that you provide?
That's right. I didn't write that down on my notes. I guess I should probably have that too. So what we do is both Lauren and Sophia schedule mortgage consultations, is what we call them, and that's where I go over all their options. I've interviewed Dave Savage, the CEO of Mortgage Coach, and I put together, actually, Lauren, you put together a rent versus own, or a TCA, a total cost analysis. And then we go over these, and we go over like self-pay closing costs, what it's like to pay points, do a over par interest rate where you get a lender credit, all sorts of, like, I know I'm going super technical with it, but I take great pride in that, because I never got all those options when I first bought my house. It's basically just like you said, Lauren, like I was told what to do. I did it, and then I refinanced several, like not several years, I like a year later, and I lost money. And that's why I do it. I mean, so, and then for Sophia, once we get an accepted offer and you're on it, I mean, you're right on it right away. I know you're going to be scheduling an appointment for me to meet up with the client again to re-go over their numbers, this time with exact figures. A lot of times we don't know what their insurance is because they haven't gotten that yet, but that's also an important thing. We got to, lock in their loan. We got to choose the choices, and we got to do it all within the days of the contract, not like the week of the closing. And guys, I just love working with you. I think we were talking about this yesterday. Where have we come in a year's time, even? Like, what do we write on the board? What is a mortgage? Like, I mean, and like, you guys remember those presentations I made you guys do in the first week? I mean,
Yes.
Sophia, describe what it felt like to record your first video.
I don't want to cry, you guys. It was really bad.
And now we're doing podcasts, and you're a natural at it, by the way. But I mean, it was, you literally locked yourself in the room for like, oh my God, that's just so funny. But look how far we've come. And now we're crushing it in all these different little categories. And I'm just so proud of you guys. I'm just like, you guys have done the work and continue to do it. And I'm really looking forward to the future. And Sophia, any one last thing you would like to add?
Nothing other than the fact that we are a great team. We all get along, and we take great pride in our role. And that's really important.
I love it. All right, this has been the Get It Done podcast. Thanks so much for listening. I want to really thank Lauren and Sophia for coming on, and we'll put contact information if you'd like to reach out to Sophia and Lauren in the podcast description. And if you've taken any value from today, or maybe you've liked us and want to show us some love, tell a friend, share the podcast with them, write us a 5-star review. All those things make a huge difference in helping us reach more people. Once again, I am Jimi Ryan. This has been the Get It Done podcast. Thanks so much for listening.